YouTube, what up? We got our second pick of the week for NFL Week 6. We have the Carolina Panthers hosting the Atlanta Falcons. Now I know I'm doing it again. I picked the Carolina Panthers again. I might need some help. I might need some therapy for this addiction on betting the Carolina Panthers, but I also might be a genius. Which one is to be determined? But to be clear for anyone that's new listening, I did not bet the Panthers those first couple games with Bryce Young, but I have been on them since Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, has taken over. And even though the past 2 weeks have not gone our way with this team, I think only one of the 3 weeks that he started was it a bad bet and they underperformed. The other 2 weeks, one of them covered, the other didn't, but I think it should have covered it. There were two big plays that broke this down in the past. On a 4th and 1 on the goal line that didn't go their way, and in the same scenario the other way that went against them. They should have covered against the Bengals. But last week they were bad. I will admit that. They were very, very bad. And I don't think that performance reflects their level with Andy Dalton. I still think we got to look at it as a whole. And in the 3 games, 2 of the 3 look pretty good. After last week, no, I don't want to bet the Panthers. Emotionally, I was hoping my numbers this week would say don't bet the Panthers without even knowing what the lines were. But I have to trust my numbers. That's what's gotten us this far in this channel. Even though our Panther bets haven't been hitting lately, we've still been having really good weekends. Okay? So despite the Panthers, we've still been doing very well. And we just got to trust our numbers. Sometimes it's going to land on teams we don't want to bet. And a lot of times those scary bets that are ugly are the best ones. That's how it goes sometimes. So we just have to trust what's got us this far. And I expect to see, I have downgraded Andy Dalton in my ratings compared to where I had him because he was balling those first 2 games. Last week laid an egg. The defense might be the worst defense in NFL history. I don't think I've ever seen a worse defense in my life against Caleb Williams. The dude had all day in the pocket to throw the ball if he wanted to. They got to work some things out, obviously, on that side of the ball. But I'm just hoping that Andy Dalton gives us a better, more, expected Andy Dalton performance last week, total egg. So we need Andy Dalton to come back to life this week, which I don't think is a huge ask because he's been pretty good those first 2 games that he started. And unlike last week, he played the Bears defense, and the Bears have a really good defense. I will admit that. The Bears have an elite defense. You could even say that. That is not the case this week. They're playing the Atlanta Falcons, who I will get to in just a second. They're phonies. Their defense is horrific. I'm not going to say it's as bad as the Panthers, but it's shitty. It's really bad. So I do feel better that this is a good spot to see Andy Dalton bounce back against a bad defense. And we just want Andy to keep this game close enough. I really wouldn't be surprised if I know I say this all the time with the Panthers, but I did have them beating the Raiders outright, and that one did come through. So it's not like we're batting 0 here. I wouldn't be surprised if this game could go either way and the Panthers squeak one out at home and kind of change a little bit of the narrative. And the Falcons, let me go on the Falcons now. This team is 3-2. They're leading their division. Kirk Cousins just played primetime football on Thursday night. First quarterback, I believe, this year. I think it was maybe a couple years. Had a 500-plus yard passing game. So now, the lights are the brightest. Everybody saw that game. Everybody saw the numbers. And they won the game. So everything made it, the perception. I always talk about perceptions on this channel. And that's where we find our values. Like I talked about with the Panthers, their perception is they're the worst team ever, which defensively, maybe. They're really bad. But we can't ignore that they look pretty good 2 out of those 3 games. That's just the facts. But the Falcons, their perception right now is that they're probably really good. With how they played, Kirk Cousins, they're rolling, great offense. And this perception is incorrect in my opinion. And this is where we're going to find value because the Panthers, I believe, are the premium on them this week, being favored by 6 points on the road is too much in a divisional game. I just think it's way too much. Kirk Cousins, yes, he threw for 509 yards or whatever he threw for, but these fuckers passed the ball the entire game. I think he had 58 attempts. I'd have to look back at the numbers, but I'm pretty sure it was in the 50s. They just threw it the whole game. And you're gonna get yards when you throw the ball a lot. Yeah, he still did good. It's a great performance. I'm not saying it wasn't. But I'm just saying they threw the ball a ton. It's not like they were pounding the rock all game. So his numbers are a little inflated based on the attempts he had. Plus, the game went to overtime, so he gets even more time to make big plays happen. And, I just think the perception is a little incorrect. Because if we're being honest, the Bucs dominated that game more than the Falcons. I was more impressed with Baker, the way, Baker was throwing the ball. The Bucs had that game pretty much in the bag. The running back at the very end, as they're running the clock out, fucking fumbles, and the Falcons get a miracle win. So the Falcons got lucky last week, but, like I said, the numbers, the prime time, everything lined up perfect to look like, oh, the Falcons, they're the fucking team. Good job, Falcons. Really, they should have lost that game, and now they're 3-2. They lose that game, they're 2-3. They should have lost the Saints game. You go back to the Saints game, they had they ended up kicking a 58-yarder game winner. But if you look at where their points came from, it came from two fluky plays. They had the muffed kick return or punt return, whatever it was, by Shaheed in the end zone. That's a free touchdown. And then they had Derek Carr, one of his balls got tipped or swatted, and it just popped up, and that was a huge turnover. So it wasn't like Kirko was dotting him up the whole game, driving him down. They scored on really fluky plays. They really should have lost that game too. So instead of 3-2, I look at this team more like a 1-4 team. If you want to be fair, we can call them a 2-3 team, but they shouldn't even be a 3-2 team. So I do think the perception on this Falcons team is a bit wrong. Kind of how I said last week with the Seahawks-Giants game. I broke down why the Seahawks and Giants are a lot more similar than people think, and people thought the Seahawks were way better. That line was getting bet up like crazy. Giants went outright. We went our bet. And the Seahawks, I told you last week, they're phonies. You look at who they played. You look at their record, how the games went. It wasn't impressive. I'm getting similar vibes from the Falcons here. They shouldn't be laying 6 points on the road no matter how bad the perception of the Panthers are. Maybe if Bryce Young was playing quarterback, they have a little bit of an argument. But with Red Rifle back there, I still think he for now at least, still commands some respect. And 6 points is just way too many. I think this team is phony in comparison to how they're being perceived, and that's where we're going to be able to find our value. Panthers have a bounce back performance here offensively, and the Falcons come back down to life a little bit, and I expect it to be a really close game. I think this game can go either way. There's no definitive side to feel good about of who's going to win this game, but like I said last week, like I said with the Giants game last week, in games that I expect to be close wars that I feel can go either way, when we're getting points through key numbers, I feel good about it. And we're not just getting some key numbers. We're getting a little extra icing on the cake because this line's all the way up to +6 in Carolina. So we will take the Carolina Panthers +6 to be in a dogfight, stay in this game, maybe win the game. One unit. A unit's 1% of your bankroll. As always, bet responsibly if you're going to bet these games. Never any pressure to bet these games. I'm just posting them publicly to document my track record for this season to see how I do when it's all said and done. And that's it, guys. I don't know if I'll have any more picks this week. You'll obviously know if I post or not, but we'll see. So that's it. Regardless, we'll have a recap video up next week. And if this is the last one, good luck, guys. I know not a ton of picks this week, but I'm never going to force picks. I'm just going to look at my numbers, and if there's value, there's value. If there's not, there's not. So that's it, boys. I will catch you either later this week or next week. Peace.